and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we're going to do a bit of a review slash rating of the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. So I've just finished the series at the start of this week, so a couple days ago, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it. I was planning on doing a reading vlog reading this series, but I never ended up doing it since I've just gotten back from my parents' house for a couple of weeks. I was staying there to get my university assignments done and get some help with my baby so that I could get them finished, and I read these while I was there and it sort of just slipped my mind that I wanted to do a video. Plus there was like lots of people around, lots happening, so I didn't get time to make a reading vlog video of reading them, but we'll just do a review video instead. So this series is a YA crime slash murder mystery series, and it is made up of one prequel story and then 3 main books written by Holly Jackson. So first, I just want to give my overall opinion of the series, and it is that it is amazing. I highly recommend anyone to try out these books. If you like sort of murder mystery crime sort of things, you will love these. They are so fun, and oh, I just don't even know. They're so good. Just give them a go. So I started out reading the prequel book, which is a very small book. As you can see, it's called Killjoy. This one was written after the series was complete, and it doesn't give any sort of plot hints or plot what's the word, like insight into the plot, but it does give you a lot of insight into the characters, and especially the main character. You sort of get a little sneak peek into what she's like, how her brain works, that sort of thing, and her main friend group as well. So I highly recommend reading this book first. Even if it doesn't give you a lot into the storyline, it gives you a lot into the characters, and then you feel like you know them when you start the actual story. And it's super short. It literally took me like not even a day to read. Like, the writing is huge and it's only about 130 pages even with that. So give it a read. It's super short, super quick, and it's fun. It follows the main friend group in the main girl's point of view, as they are playing this murder mystery game, sort of like Cluedo or something like that. And they're staying at one of her friend's houses, and her friend's brother has set up this big scheme on how to make this game really fun and interactive. And it's like they're like when you play Cluedo and you're one of the characters, it's sort of like that, but they're all dressed up and they're all talking to each other, giving each other clues. They've got all these different puzzles and stuff, and it's really fun. So give that one a go if you want to. But you definitely don't have to read that one. If you just want to read the main 3 books of the series, you don't have to read this one at all. It's just sort of a fun extra thing. Then we go into the main book of the series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So this is the first main book of the series. Oh, before I go anywhere else, I gave this one a 3.5 just because it's like a short prequel novella thing. It wasn't really super plot heavy. It wasn't super amazing, but it was fun and it was cute, and I recommend it. So then we go into the first main book of the series, Good Girls Guide to Murder. I rated this one a straight 4. It was just like a solid 4 for me. I'd recommend it to anyone to read, but it just wasn't, I don't even know why it wasn't a 5, because, or even higher than a 4, like 4.5 or something. I think it was just the feeling it gave, because there were so many plot twists and so many things happening, and it's not like I guessed what was going to happen. I didn't guess anything. Literally, as I go through the story, I suspected every single character to have done it, and I suspected every single scenario except for what actually happened, and it's crazy, the plot twist at the end. So the main storyline of this book is that Pip, the main girl character, has to write this, it's called an EPQ or something, for one of her last projects at school. So it's a huge big investigative essay thing, research assignment, and she chooses to research the case of the girl who disappeared in her town 3-ish years ago. So the girl who disappeared, Andy Bell, she was disappeared, and her murder even though they never found her body, her murder was pinned on this boy called Sao Sing, who she was dating at the time. So Pip goes to talk to Sao's brother, and they team up to try and clear Sao's name and prove that he's innocent and didn't do it. So that's the premise of the story, and she's investigating, she does interviews, she writes these logs. So it's sort of an interactive book as well, if I can give an example. Like, it gives different pages as she finds things. It's got like person of interest lists and stuff like that. Interviews. So yeah, it's really fun, and it feels as though you are the main character and you're investigating with her. Like, as you go through, you don't know anything that's happening that she doesn't know. Like, you only know what she knows, and so it helps you make theories and like think of all these crazy things as you find out with her, and then you have all these crazy things that happen as she finds out as well. One little note, I was annoyed reading this book because you can't even see it, I don't think, but my spine split. Oh, and I was so sad. I really tried to not split my spines, but I was reading this super carefully and I just could not even stop it from happening, as you can see. But anyway, so straight 4, and I highly recommend this book. I will say that this one and the prequel, you can obviously tell that it's a YA book, just with how it's written and her age, sort of the terminology and the themes that are in the book. You can tell it's a YA, and then going on to the next couple books, they sort of progressively get more and more mature as you go on, which makes sense because the main character is growing up, but just so you know. But with saying that, my mum, who's about 50, read this book and she loved it as well. So it's not really just for young adults, it's for everyone. And yeah, that's what I'll say. The next book in the series, I'll put a picture up here because I've loaned the physical copy to my mum, so I don't have it, but I'll put the picture up here somewhere. This one is called Good Girl, Bad Blood, and it follows on from the first story, except it is a completely different case that the main character is following. So she's fully solved this one, it's been resolved mainly, and then this one follows the same characters, the same town, as she follows this next case. So this case in the second book is one of her best friend's brothers has gone missing, and the police are not going to do anything about it because they think that he is depressed, he's got a history of running away from home or not talking to people for a couple of days, so they're like, he's just gone, like he'll be back in a couple of days, just don't stress, he'll be fine. But the parents and the brother is very, very worried about him, obviously, because he's disappeared and it wasn't like a normal scenario where he would disappear. So they contact Pip, who is the brother's friend, and try to ask her to investigate the story. So she picks up the story, trying to figure out what happened to Jamie, which is the guy who disappeared. And we go along with her, similar to the first one, where we're sort of in her point of view and we discover things as she finds it out. And I liked this book the most out of the whole series, which is sort of weird for me because normally I like either the first book or the last book of the series the most, but the second one, the one in the middle, oh, it was so good. I rated 4.75. It was so close to a 5. It just wasn't cool out there. I don't even know why, but it just wasn't. So we're following Pip as she tries to figure out why Jamie went missing, what was happening, and some crazy things happen. This one is a little bit more mature than the last one. It sort of goes into like, I don't even know why it's more mature because it's got the same themes in it, but I think it's just the writing style and the characters, and there's probably more swear words, there's more like talk of different themes. But yeah, so that's the second one. And then we go into the third book, which is called As Good as Dead. And once again, it follows Pip, except this time, she is the one, she's sort of investigating her own case. She has been getting death threats online and in real life because she has this podcast where she tries to solve all these like murders and mysteries. And there's someone who really, really doesn't like her. So she is trying to figure out what this is about. She gets a lot of them, and at first she's like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just someone online. But then she links the threats she's getting to a serial killer who was found in 6 years ago. I think it was 6, something like that. So she's like, am I about to be murdered? And yes, she was. So she has to try to figure out who the serial killer is before they get her. She's only got like a couple of weeks before like the threats come and get her. So yeah, this one gets really, really crazy. And this one is like the most mature of all of them. Like it's got lots of talk of like swearing, rape, drugs, addiction, murder, obviously. So it's a lot more mature than the other ones, but she is also like out of school now. She's going to college, so it's a different vibe. This next section is going to be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, skip it just a little bit. This one is actually crazy. If you know, you know. She gets taken by a serial killer, tied up, about to be murdered. She has something of hers taken as a murder trophy, and then she escapes, comes back, and murders the murderer. And then, oh my goodness, I'm just thinking about it, and it's so wild what happens. So she murders the murderer, and then she calls Ravi like, yo bro, help me, I just killed someone, we need to hide the body. And they literally come up with this elaborate scheme to pin the murder on someone else. What? Like, how can you even do that? But they did it, and it was so good. Like, it felt like I was there with her. I literally got nervous. Like, when she was taken by the murderer, I was like stressing because I was like, shoot, we're about to die, girl. And then all this stuff happens. We figure out how she escapes. Then she comes back and kills him. Oh, it's so crazy. Okay, spoilers are over. Sorry about that. I just had to go off for a second because I still sort of cannot believe what happened in this book. It's crazy. But I rated this one a 4.5. It was so, so good. I just have to warn you though, I was literally scared when I was reading this. Like, I was scared when I was reading this. Like, it was nighttime. I had my book light on, reading it in bed. And when it was all going down, I was like, I'm scared. Like, I thought I was about to get taken by a murderer for reals. But anyways, I'm getting off track, I feel like. That was the last one. Highly recommend. And honestly, if you've been a little bit not sure whether you want to read this series or not, just do it. It is so worth it, and it is so good. But I will say that you should get past the second one and read the second and third, because I liked them more than the first one. So give them all a go, and I hope you enjoy your reading experience. Let me know your thoughts about the series in the comments down below. And I think my next video is going to be my TBR jar picks my reads for September. So we'll see what reads I get for next month, and that should be really fun. So with that being said, I think that's all I've got to say, and I hope you have a really good day. Catch you later.